Nigeria, with the highest number of motions and bills in the history of the Nigerian Parliament. Welcome with me, Senator Dino Melaye.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and my colleagues. Special salutation from Nigeria and Africa. I was going to ask if I'm the one being introduced with all the apples and the statement from the chair. It is a very unique pleasure to be here this afternoon, and a rare one because I consider myself a legal rookie. Having just been called to bar this year.
That's why we're going
I also want to announce that law was my 10th degree, and by the grace of God, I started my LLM, and I'll be defending myself on PhD in 3 months. In an increasing, interconnected and globalized world, the legal profession must reflect diversity of the society it serves. The International Bar Association, IBA, exists to bring together legal practitioners, bar associations, law societies around the world through its membership and activities. The IBA presents a vivid microcosm of the world's diversity across nations, culture, language, gender, sexual orientation, religious and legal system. In this context, advancing the principle of diversity, equity and inclusion, the DEI, becomes not only simply a matter of professional niceties, but one of integrity, legitimacy, and effectiveness of the rule of law globally. This paper explores what we mean by diversity, equity, and inclusion, why DEI matters in the context of the IBA and the legal profession. What personally motivates me, my participation in this panel? What actions am I already taking? What I see as current initiatives and challenges, especially in Nigeria and Africa, and what makes me hopeful about the future. I will be speaking specifically with connotation from Africa and specifically Nigeria. In my own country, Nigeria, we also suffer challenges of diversity, of inclusion. I will say to a great extent, in Africa and in my country, Nigeria, there's a very high degree of ethnic consciousness. And these have a very negative concomitant effects, even in the practice of law and in the unity of the people. When you want to go to the university in Nigeria, a student from the southern part of Nigeria, say Lagos or Rivers, will need to score 250 minimum to study medicine. But a student from the northern part of Nigeria can qualify to study medicine even with 180. For me, God created every one of us. He said we were fearfully and wonderfully made. We also have what is called the federal character. For me, is another impediment to the issue of inclusion and diversity. And this has created a lot of problems across the country. Especially, I believe it has a resultant effect on our moral values. When I was growing up as a child in the city of Kano, the northern part of Nigeria, houses had no fences. The only place we see fences as kids is either a zoo or a prison yard. But the situation got worsened. We started building fences with broken bottles as barrier on their fences. The situation further deteriorated. We started using barbed wires. It further deteriorated today. We are using electric fence. For me, it is a big problem. Talking about this issue of diversity, non-inclusion, today in my country, Nigeria, when you go to a general hospital, the hospital card you're going to fill, there's a column for religion, there's a column for states, there's a column for local government. And I begin to wonder, what has that got to do with your recovery? What has that got to do with your treatment? You go for interviews. The first question is, what state are you from? What language do you speak? These have created serious ethnic consciousness in our people, and not only creating ethnic consciousness, but create favorism. Martin Luther King said in 1963, precisely June 11th, he said, I have a dream that one day in the highlands of Georgia, the sons and daughters of slave owners will sit with sons and daughters of slaves to decide the future of America. He said again during the Great March to Washington, D.C. in 1963, that I have a dream that one day my 4 children in the United States of America will not be judged by the color of their skin or by the content of their character. Based on that statement, based on that dream and that struggle, a white man eventually lived, a black man eventually lived in the White House. This divisive tendencies have created a lot of problem, and it has affected our humanity as a people. It has affected our humanity. Just yesterday I was going through a story online where a lady in the United States of America called Jennifer went to a grocery store and stole. And the police visited her and said, you are wanted in the police station because you stole. And the policeman asked her, what did you steal? And she said, I stole 5 eggs because I wanted to feed my kids. The policeman said, okay, get into the car. Drove her back to the grocery stores and got her groceries worth 2 big bags. And drove her back home and said, go. When the policeman got to his station, the superior officer asked, where is the woman we asked you to go and arrest? The man said something. He said, sir, it is not all the time you apply the law. At times, you need to apply humanity. So our humanity has been affected by these divisive tendencies. It has been affected by these parochial tendencies. It has been affected by these very myopic tendencies. And it is time for IBA, for lawyers all over the world, to make sure that unity of purpose of heart and commitment becomes a focus across the world. As I speak, many countries have also done well in trying to unite their people, irrespective of tribe, religion, sex, or gender. Rwanda has done very well. Rwanda fought a bitter war. 3 million people died from genocide. But today, it is a crime in Rwanda for you to call yourself a Tutsi or a Hutu. It's completely been eradicated. And the country's the reconciliation is total. And today, Rwanda has the fastest growing economy in Africa. Phones using Rwanda today are made in Rwanda. They built the first 7-star hotel, the Marriott, in Africa. So what I'm saying in essence is that if we are able to ameliorate and palliate the problem of diversity, the problem of non-inclusion in all ramifications, it also gives birth to development at all levels, including the development of our profession, of our local profession. In my country, as a case study, there's also a need to include, for women inclusion. I speak today, we have just about 3 or 4 women in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, where you have 109 senators. many female ministers do you have? And it's the same story across Africa. So I am saying that there's a need, urgent need, for women inclusion across Africa, especially in Nigeria. The Beijing conference has not been completely domesticated in my country and in many African countries. It's equity in opportunity. The third is inclusive policies and governance. The fourth is representation and visibility. The fifth is intersectionality. The sixth is bias and discrimination. Global workforce inclusion, 7. The 8 is measurement and accountability. 9 is community engagement. And the 10 is education and training. In conclusion, across these 10 dimensions mentioned, the International Bar Association continues to lead the global legal profession towards a more inclusive, equitable, and culturally intelligent future. From the creation of toolkits and policy frameworks for leadership benchmarking and grassroots engagements, the IBA exemplifies the DEI in both structure and spirit. My own experiences as a Nigerian lawyer, navigating multiple layers of diversity, practicing inclusion in my workplace, and participating in policy reform affirms the DEI is no longer aspirational, but it is operational. Progress is evident, cultural sensitivity is deepening, equity framework are expanding, intersectional awareness is rising, and accountability is taking root. Yet, much work remains. The opportunity before us as members of the IBA and the global citizens is to sustain these gains by ensuring that DEI becomes part of our professional DNA, shaping how we think, we lead, and serve in the pursuit of justice and the rule of law. At the end of the day, we must not keep quiet to all the injustices done in all ramifications, because in an unjust society, silence is a crime. I'll wait for the question time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Melaye. The questions are coming, so we need to